Have you ever paused and wondered what truly lies hidden behind the silence of the chosen souls? Not the ordinary silence of hesitation or shyness, but a deep, mysterious stillness, one that holds a power capable of shaking even the firmest foundations of this world. Imagine this. While humanity rushes madly into the whirlwind of hurried words, overflowing social media posts, and private lives laid bare without a second thought, somewhere there exist those who are different. Who are they? The chosen ones. Those who carry secrets that must never escape their lips. Not out of fear, but because they understand that silence is the key to power, the fortress that shields destiny, the quiet flame that illumines the path to unimaginable blessings and breakthroughs. Think about it. If words are the wind, then silence is the storm. Unassuming, unpretentious, yet powerful enough to sweep away everything in its path. In a world where people scramble to be heard, where even the smallest moments are broadcast live, the silence of the chosen is not just a preference, it is a declaration. A statement louder than the most powerful speech. It says, "I know what you do not. I guard what you cannot comprehend." And within this mystery they protect the most sacred things, divine promises, visions of the future, and the priceless gems of the soul that, if exposed, could be tainted by the world. Have you ever felt different, as if something within you calls you to remain silent, to keep things unspoken? Perhaps you are one of them, one of the chosen to walk a path few dare to tread. So if you feel drawn to these mysteries, if you seek the profound wisdom that C.S. Lewis once touched through his words and thoughts, then join me on this journey. And when you are ready to embrace the light of the unknown, leave a mark of faith by commenting, "I open my heart to the truth." This is more than just a phrase, it is the doorway to the wonders that await you. Do not hesitate for another second, pause, take a deep breath, and prepare your mind to receive a truth that may completely change the way you live from this day forward. The first secret, the first sacred truth you must swear to protect with all your heart, soul, and strength is your plans and dreams for the future, not something vague or trivial, but the blazing fire that God has placed in your heart, the divine roadmap to the destiny He designed for you before you were even born. This is no small matter. This is a battle between light and darkness, between God's promises and the schemes that seek to extinguish them. You, the chosen ones, open your spiritual ears and listen carefully, for what is about to be revealed is not just advice, it is a call to action, a declaration of war against any force that dares to threaten your dreams. Imagine your enemy, not one of flesh and blood, but the one who lurks in the shadows, the one who has no real power to see your future. He does not possess a crystal ball to foresee the path God has laid out for you. He has no access to the secret chambers where God is preparing wonders for your life. But do not mistake his limitations for powerlessness. No, he is far more cunning than that. He operates like a stealthy thief, collecting every stray piece of information you carelessly drop in casual conversations. In moments of weakness when you speak too much, every word you utter, every detail you reveal, is like a bullet loaded into his gun, ammunition to shoot down the blessings awaiting you, to shatter dreams that have not yet bloomed. Proverbs 29:11 warns us clearly. A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. Let this truth be etched into your mind as a constant reminder. A wise person does not scatter their treasures before thieves. They understand that silence is not weakness, it is strength, it is strategy, it is the impenetrable shield that protects what God has entrusted to them. Now, stop and look at a living example from the Bible, Mary, the mother of Jesus. A humble woman chosen to carry the greatest promise in human history. When the angel told her that she would give birth to the Savior, a revelation powerful enough to shake both heaven and earth, what did she do? Did she rush to every house in the village, knocking on doors to declare that she was the chosen one? No, Mary chose silence. She kept the promise hidden in her heart, like a precious gem locked in a sealed box, only to be revealed in God's perfect timing. She understood a truth that every chosen one must engrave in their soul. A dream is like a newborn child, fragile, full of potential, but vulnerable. It must be cradled, nurtured in silence, shielded from the cold winds of doubt, the sharp arrows of criticism, and the rough hands of misunderstanding. If you rush to announce your dream before it is fully formed, you unintentionally open the door for the enemy, allowing him to plant seeds of confusion and destroy the very thing God has placed within you. Consider this. When you begin to bring your vision to life, perhaps a divine mission like writing an inspirational book about your journey of faith, the last thing you need is noise from the outside world. Doubting voices from others. Do you really think you're capable of doing that? Unsolicited advice. Maybe you should wait until you're more experienced. Even the silent envy of those who do not understand your vision, these things can shake the foundation that is not yet firm. C.S. Lewis, a man who deeply understood the power of silence and faith, once wrote in Mere Christianity, "We live in fact in a world starved for the good that God created." Lewis believed that the enemy does not only attack through obvious temptations but also through our own careless words, moments when we reveal too much too soon, and unwittingly hand the darkness an opportunity to sabotage the light. He advised that, like a warrior guarding their fortress, we must learn to protect our spiritual treasures, allowing them to grow under God's guidance, rather than exposing them to eyes that are not worthy. Sharing too soon with the wrong people doesn't just invite unnecessary trouble, it can slow your progress, even cause you to give up before you truly begin. Instead, keep your vision in a sacred private space, just between you and God. Let prayer be the safe house for your dreams, where you can whisper your deepest aspirations without fear of judgment. Yes, there will be times when He guides you to share a portion of your vision with trusted individuals, those who will pray with you, uplift you, and stand in agreement with you, but even then, be cautious. Do not let the temptation to boast or the excitement of the moment push you to expose your plans before they are strong enough to stand. Lewis also emphasized in the Screwtape Letters that the enemy often preys on human impatience, urging us to speak before the time is right, only to watch our words collapse under the weight of the world. He reminds us that patience and silence are spiritual weapons that the chosen must master. By choosing strategic silence, you are not only protecting your dreams from those who seek to destroy them, you are also creating fertile ground for them to grow. Imagine your dream as a young sapling. If you expose it too soon to scorching heat or violent storms, it may wither before it even takes root. But if you shelter it, water it with quiet faith and patience, it will dig deep roots, stretch out its branches, and eventually bloom in its appointed season. This silence is not passive, it is an act of faith, a complete surrender to God's plan, trusting that He will bring your vision into the light at the perfect time. Not every dream needs to be shouted from the rooftops immediately. Some visions must be nurtured in sacred secrecy, where they can mature under God's protection, far from the enemy's reach. So, if you feel the fire of a dream burning within you, if you believe you have been chosen to do something great, whether it's writing a book that ignites faith, leading a mission to change the world, or taking a small but meaningful step, then rise up today. Commit to guarding what God is planting in you until He says, "Now is the time." And when you are ready to step into this journey, when you want to declare that you will protect your dream with everything you have, leave a mark of faith in the comments. I will stand firm in His silence. This is not just a phrase. It is your vow, your guiding beacon through the darkness, and your promise that you will not allow anyone or anything to steal the destiny that God has set before you. Prepare to receive the second truth, just as profound, just as powerful, a truth that can become the lighthouse guiding your path as a sacred protector. Family matters. Guarding the sacred space. Among the treasures that God entrusts to the chosen, family stands as a sacred fortress, an unbreakable circle where love, faith, and sacrifice intertwine to withstand the storms of the world. But be careful. Not every crack in your family's walls, every financial struggle knocking at your door, or every hidden pain of health issues needs to be brought into the public eye. This is not mere advice. This is a divine calling for you to rise up, take hold of the shield of silence, and protect your sacred refuge from unworthy eyes and destructive hands. Imagine your family as a hidden garden, where the delicate flowers of faith and unity are planted. Would you carelessly fling open the gates and allow strangers to trample them just because in a moment of weakness you desired an audience? In a world where exposing everything on social media has become second nature, from minor marital disputes, frustrations with children to sleepless nights over mounting bills, you, the chosen ones, are called to be different. Make no mistake, the enemy does not sleep. He is not strong because of his own power, but because of the gaps we create for him to enter. When you publicly air your family's vulnerabilities, whether through a heated status update, an offhand remark to a friend, or casual gossip, you inadvertently hand him a detailed map of where to attack. He thrives in division, and every detail you expose becomes a brick he uses to build a stronghold against what God has built in your home. The Bible has already given us precious wisdom for moments like these. Proverbs 17:9 declares, "Whoever covers an offense seeks love." And 1 Peter 4:8 reminds us, "Love covers a multitude of sins." This is not an invitation to hide the truth out of shame. No, this is a sacred command, to guard what is vulnerable with love and grace. Look at the story of Noah's sons. When their father lay drunk and exposed, they did not run to spread the news to the village, nor did they turn his weakness into a topic of gossip. Instead, they quietly stepped forward, covered him with a cloak, and preserved the dignity of their family. That is your example. Your role is not to expose but to protect, not to magnify but to handle everything with wisdom, discretion, and a heart set on healing. C.S. Lewis, who deeply understood the nature of spiritual warfare, once wrote in the Screwtape Letters that the enemy preys on our careless moments, the times when we allow emotions to override wisdom and expose what should be kept sacred. He warned that the world, with all its glitter and noise, is a stage designed to pull us away from eternal values, including the sanctity of family. Lewis believed that true love does not seek attention, does not boast, but quietly does its work in the shadows, just as God performs his miracles in silence. Imagine if Mary, when faced with Joseph's initial doubt about her pregnancy, had run to Elizabeth in a moment of frustration, spilling her fears and uncertainty. What would have happened? Rumors would have spread like wildfire, confusion would have multiplied, and the sacred promise she carried could have been crushed before it had a chance to flourish. But no, Mary chose to trust God, to keep her heart quiet, and to let him unfold the plan in his perfect timing. She is a living example of what Lewis wrote in Mere Christianity. The greatest things God does are often carried out in secrecy, without the need for an audience. So, when the temptation urges you to turn small family issues into a public spectacle, whether through an emotional social media post or an impulsive conversation with an untrustworthy person, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your family is a sacred space, not an arena for the world to scrutinize. Handle marital conflicts, parenting struggles, or financial burdens privately, with patience and prayer. If you need advice, seek out mature individuals in faith, trusted souls who will kneel in prayer with you rather than spread your story. Lewis once emphasized that the weakness of human nature lies in our tendency to seek sympathy from the crowd rather than strength from our Creator. Don't fall into that trap. When you keep your family away from public scrutiny, you're not just shielding it from attacks, you're also opening the door to healing, reconciliation, and miracles beyond your imagination. Imagine this. Every time you choose silence over exposure, you are building an invisible wall around your family, a fortress that the enemy cannot breach. Every time you refuse to turn private pain into a public headline, you are inviting God's restorative hand to step in. Family is not just a group of people living under one roof. It is a representation of God's love on earth, a place where grace is tested and triumphs. Lewis wrote, "Home is the place where, when you go there, they have to take you in. But to keep that home a true sanctuary, you must guard it with discretion and unconditional love. When you do, you create an environment where wounds are healed, relationships are restored, and blessings multiply. So you, the chosen one, stand up today and commit that your family will be an inviolable sanctuary. Promise yourself that you will not let the toxic winds of the world blow through your home's doors, that you will handle every challenge with love, wisdom, and sacred silence. And when you are ready to declare your role as the guardian of this sacred space, leave a mark of faith in the comments. I will hold the fortress. It's not just words. It's your vow before God, a flame lighting the path ahead, and a promise that you will keep your family safe, ensuring that it remains a place where His love and grace dwell. Be ready to step into a third truth, a truth that burns like fire in the dark night, a calling that demands extraordinary courage and unwavering faith, the first victory and the breakthrough, waiting for God's timing. On the journey of the chosen ones, nothing tests your patience and wisdom more than the moment when God opens the door of blessing, a first victory gleaming like a precious gem in your hands. It may be a new job that opens a horizon of hope, a financial breakthrough that leaves you in awe, or an unexpected opportunity that falls like a gift from heaven. When that moment comes, your heart will race, your lips will itch to shout to the world, "I did it!" But pause for a second, take a deep breath, and listen carefully, because this is when silence becomes your strongest protector, your shield against the fierce winds waiting to extinguish the flame that has just been lit. Imagine your first victory as a young sapling, breaking through the soil, small, full of promise, yet still fragile against the storms of the world. Would you dare to uproot it, exposing it to the scorching sun or torrential rain just to show it off? No, you know it needs time. Time for its roots to sink deep into the ground, for its trunk to grow strong in stillness, for it to become resilient against all external pressures. Proverbs 21:05 illuminates this truth clearly. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Wisdom does not lie in rushing to announce your success to the world. It lies in waiting, in absolute trust, for God's perfect timing. Because when you reveal your breakthrough too quickly, you unintentionally place it in the crosshairs of spiritual forces, envious eyes, and competing hands waiting to choke it before it has the chance to stand firm. Your enemy, not flesh and blood, but the one lurking in the shadows, is always hungry for an opportunity to sabotage God's work in your life. He does not have the power to see your future, but he is skilled at exploiting our impatience. Every hasty boast, every detail you reveal in excitement, is like handing him a map that leads straight to where he can strike. Look at King Saul, anointed with a divine promise to rule. The prophet Samuel instructed him to wait for God's signs before taking action. 1 Samuel 10:8. But in his impatience and lack of trust, Saul moved ahead of God's timing. And what was the result? His kingdom began to crumble, and his blessings faded under the weight of disobedience. On the other hand, consider David, the shepherd boy who defeated Goliath with a single stone and unshakable faith. After that great victory, David did not run around boasting or erect a monument to himself in the town square. He remained silent, letting his victory echo in the hearts of those who witnessed it, waiting for God's timing to elevate him to the throne. If David had hastily declared his triumph before his destiny was secured, his enemies, from King Saul to the Philistines, would have had all the information they needed to crush him before he even had a chance to rise. C.S. Lewis, who deeply explored the traps of pride and the power of patience, once wrote in the Screwtape Letters that the enemy is often most successful when he catches us off guard in moments of victory. He described how the eagerness for recognition can become an open door for darkness to creep in, corrupting what God is building. Lewis emphasized that real joy does not need an audience, and neither does your first victory. He believed that God's greatest works are often forged in secrecy, just as he prepared David through years of shepherding in the wilderness before entrusting him with an entire kingdom. In Mere Christianity, Lewis also reminds us that humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less, and that includes resisting the temptation to boast about early blessings, allowing them the space to grow under God's protection. Chosen ones, engrave this truth upon your heart. Your first victory is not the time to raise a flag in celebration before the crowd. It is the time to kneel, to thank God in silence, and to let His blessing take deep root within you. There will be a day, a glorious day, when you will stand atop the mountain and share your story with the world. But that day is not today. Today, your breakthrough is still a precious gem meant to be kept between you and God, because it is in this early stage that the enemy will exert every effort to steal, kill, and destroy what he has given you. He will stir up envy in those around you, whispers of "why him and not me?" He will sow distractions, pulling you into unnecessary competition, or worse, he will make you doubt the very promise you just received. But when you choose silence, when you keep your victory between you and your Creator, you build an impenetrable wall around that blessing. You give it time to grow, to gain strength, to become a mighty tree that cannot be shaken. Imagine this. Every day you keep your breakthrough hidden, you are watering that young tree with faith. Every time you resist the temptation to boast, you are driving its roots deeper into sacred soil. And when God's timing arrives, not yours, but His, you will see that tree rise tall, casting shade, bearing fruit sweeter than you ever expected. Lewis once said, "God is never in a hurry, but He is always on time." He understood that God's greatest miracles often require waiting, not to punish us, but to perfect us, and the blessings He has given. Just as he kept Christ's resurrection hidden for 3 silent days before shaking the world, he is working in your silence, preparing a story greater than you can imagine. So if you have just received a victory, whether it is a job opportunity, a financial miracle, or a life-changing chance, do not rush to the public square to announce it. Stand still, lift your head to the heavens, and whisper a prayer of gratitude to the one who gave it to you. Commit to waiting for his timing, allowing your victory to mature in secrecy, to become the foundation for even greater things ahead. And when you are ready to declare that you will guard this blessing with patience and faith, leave a bold mark in the comments, "I will wait in his glory." This is not just a phrase, it is your vow before God, the wind beneath the wings of your dreams, and the promise that you will let him write your victory story in the most beautiful way only he can. Now, you, the chosen one, let me whisper a vital secret to you amidst the deafening noise of this world. A secret that I hope you carve into your heart, just as I had to learn through seasons of falling and rising. The enemy is always lurking, and your finances are one of his favorite targets. Can you sense it? He never sleeps, always watching, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. In this age where social media turns everything into a grand stage, where people race to flaunt shiny new possessions, picture-perfect luxury vacations or promotions wrapped in the admiration of the masses, it's easy for you and me to fall into a deadly trap, boasting about the blessings God has placed in our hands. But listen to me, my friend. This is not an innocent game. This is a dangerous chess match where every wrong move can cost us everything we hold dear. Imagine holding a precious gem in your hands. Not just any gem, but a financial blessing that God has meticulously crafted just for you. A small yet meaningful savings, a new job with generous pay, or an unexpected income arriving at the perfect moment when you need it most. Your heart races, your hands tremble with the urge to lift this gem high for the world to admire. But pause for a moment. Remember the wisdom of Proverbs 13:11, shining like a guiding light in the night. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Do you see? True wisdom is not in flaunting what you have, but in allowing it to grow quietly, step by step, with patience and trust. This is the way of the wise. They do not need the applause of the crowd to affirm their worth. They know that true wealth is built in silence, like a strong house rising from bricks laid down over time, not from boastful words that echo and vanish with the wind. Our enemy, he is no fool, my friend. He does not have the power to steal what God has given, but he is a master at exploiting our moments of weakness. He nurtures envy, stirs up greed, and inflates pride in the hearts of those around you. When you reveal too much, a photo showing off a new car, a status update about a big bonus, or even an innocent conversation with an acquaintance, you unknowingly hand him a sharp weapon. He will stir up envious eyes, why her and not me, plant venomous whispers, and sometimes he will even make you start questioning whether you truly deserve this blessing. Remember the story of King Hezekiah in 2 Kings 12-19, a harsh lesson I can never forget. After God healed him from the brink of death, Hezekiah let his pride take over. When envoys from Babylon arrived, he flung open his treasure vaults. Gold, silver, spices, everything gleaming within his palace. He thought he was impressing them, but in reality he was drawing a detailed map for the enemy. The prophet Isaiah warned him, and soon enough Babylon returned to plunder everything he once boasted about. If Hezekiah had chosen silence, if he had trusted in God more than in human admiration, his story might have ended differently. C.S. Lewis, a man I deeply admire for both his sharp intellect and his heart for God, once wrote in the Screwtape Letters that the enemy is most successful when he intoxicates us with self-satisfaction. He described how pride, even a fleeting desire for recognition, can open the door for darkness to creep in, destroying the good that God has planted. Lewis said, "Real joy needs no audience, and I believe that applies to your financial blessings as well." In Mere Christianity, he reminds us that real wealth is not in having more but in needing less, a teaching that often makes me ask myself, am I seeking security in what God provides or in the admiration of others? When you boast about your financial status, you are not just inviting envy or manipulation, you are also placing yourself at risk of losing the very peace that wealth is meant to bring. Not everyone who claps for you is truly happy for you. And not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions, my friend. So let me tell you this from the heart of someone who has learned this lesson the hard way. When God blesses you financially, whether it's a small amount that helps you through a difficult month or a life-changing breakthrough, do not rush to raise it like a victory flag. Keep it close to your heart as a sacred secret between you and Him. Place your trust in the provider, the one who knows your needs before you even speak them. Let your financial growth unfold in quiet obedience, like a gentle river flowing beneath the surface, needing no audience to confirm its existence. Lewis once said, "God whispers to us in our joys, but shouts in our pains." And I believe your financial blessings are among those whispers. They do not need to be shouted for the whole world to hear. When you keep them hidden, you shield yourself from the arrows of envy, the schemes of manipulation, and even the risk of loss at the hands of those lurking in the shadows. Imagine this, my friend. Every time you choose not to boast, you are building a fortress around your treasure. Not just material wealth, but the peace, joy, and faith that it represents. The greatest wealth is not what can be measured in money, but the spiritual riches that lift your eyes to the giver rather than just the gifts he bestows. I too have fallen into the trap of wanting to be seen, wanting to be acknowledged, but now I understand that what truly makes my life shine is not the money in my account, but how I live for God in every small decision. And so do you. Let the world know you, not through your possessions, but through your unwavering faith, your radiant character, and the love you have for Him. When you protect your treasure, both material and spiritual, you open the door for God to multiply your blessings in ways beyond your imagination. So, my dear friend, stand up today and make a commitment to yourself, to me, and most importantly, to God, that you will guard your financial blessings as a sacred gift. Promise that you will not give the enemy a chance to seize them through careless boasting. And when you are ready to declare that you will live a life that honors the provider more than the provision, leave a mark of faith in the comments, "I will be rich in His trust." This is not just a phrase, it is your vow, the fire that lights your path, and the promise that you will let God lead you into true wealth, the kind that no one can take away. Chosen ones, let me lead you into a profound truth, one that burns like fire in the night, a calling that will make your heart tremble with awe and reverence. Sacred moments are not meant for everyone. Imagine standing atop a high hill, the wind rushing through your hair, and in that quiet moment God pulls back the veil of heaven to give you a gift. A dream so vivid it feels real, a vision flashing like lightning, a whisper from an angel, or a divine revelation that shakes the very core of your soul. These are not ordinary experiences. These are treasures, precious gems carved by the hand of the Creator, given to you to nourish your faith, illuminate your path, and draw you closer to His heart. But pause for a moment, my friend, and hear me out. Not every sacred moment is meant to be brought into the public light. Some things, deep, holy, and beautiful, must be kept hidden, like a sweet secret between you and God. Think about it. Is there any power greater than silence? Is there any wisdom more precious than knowing when to speak and when to lock your lips to protect what is sacred? These spiritual encounters, from dreams that leave you breathless to visions that bring tears to your eyes, are not always meant to be shared with the crowd. Sometimes God will whisper, "Speak, encourage others." But more often than not, these moments are building blocks for your personal journey with Him, bricks that make you stronger, firmer, and more deeply rooted in His boundless love. They are too precious, too sacred to be exposed to eyes that are not ready, hearts that do not understand, or hands that might unknowingly harm them. If you reveal them too soon, you may dim the brilliant light they bring, losing the depth of transformation they promise in your life. Look at Mary, the mother of Jesus, a humble woman chosen to carry the greatest promise in history. When the angel Gabriel appeared with a message that shook both heaven and earth that she would give birth to the Savior, what did she do? Did she run through the streets of Nazareth knocking on doors to tell everyone about the angel's visit? Did she stand in the marketplace, shouting for recognition from those who would never understand? No, Mary chose to keep it in her heart, like a gem locked in a treasure box, only to be revealed when God's timing was right. She understood that sacred moments are too valuable to be recklessly exposed. They must be nurtured, pondered, and protected until they are ready to shine. And then there is the Apostle Paul, who was caught up into the third heaven where he heard things too great for human language to express. 2 Corinthians 12. He did not immediately write a book detailing his experience. He did not preach about it from every rooftop. Instead, he kept it hidden, recognizing that some revelations are too deep, too sacred to share with just anyone. C.S. Lewis once wrote in The Weight of Glory, "There are secrets that God keeps, not to deny us, but to protect us until we are ready." He believed that moments of divine encounter, whether through visions, dreams, or the quiet presence of God, are gifts not to be flaunted, but to transform us from within. Lewis understood that the world, with all its noise and shallowness, often has no room for the deepest things of the soul. In the Screwtape Letters, he warned that the enemy loves to make us talk too much, to dilute sacred moments with boasting or the need for validation. Have you ever felt that temptation? The urge to tell someone about a miraculous dream, only to realize that words cannot fully capture its beauty, and their doubtful glance makes it fade? That is why I plead with you. Keep these moments close to your heart, like a small flame you shield from the wind, so that it may burn brightly forever within you. Imagine your spiritual experiences as golden seeds, small but full of life. If you rush to expose them to the light too soon, they may be trampled by mockery. Do you really think that was from God? Choked by jealousy? Or targeted by the enemy before they have the chance to grow? Just like the Apostle John in Revelation 10, when he heard the thundering voices and prepared to write them down, only for God to say, "Do not write this down. You must learn to discern." Why did God stop John? Because some revelations are too vast, too holy, not meant for every ear or every moment. These seeds need time to take deep root in the soil of your spirit, time to grow in quietness, time to blossom into great trees bearing fruit for His glory. When you protect them, when you meditate and pray over them in secret, you allow them to change you from the inside out, making your faith stronger, your love for God deeper, and your purpose clearer. My friend, not everyone will understand your sacred moments, and that is okay. Some will mock, some will be envious, and some simply are not ready to receive what God has shown you. But that does not matter. These experiences are not for the crowd. They are for lifting you higher, for drawing you into the arms of the one who created you. When you keep them hidden, you create a sacred space where God can speak to you, where you can hear His voice more clearly than ever before. Think about this. Every time you choose silence instead of sharing, you plant a seed of faith. Every time you refuse to seek validation from others, you invite God to step in closer. And when His timing comes, not yours but His, those seeds will bloom into radiant flowers, a living testimony of His hand in your life. Lewis once said, "We are not merely mortal beings, we are created for eternity," and I believe that these sacred moments are the doors that lead you into that eternity. They are a test of your closeness with God, a reminder that you do not live for the world's approval, but for His love. So, my dear friend, rise up today and commit that you will protect your spiritual experiences like the priceless treasures they are, not out of fear but out of wisdom, not out of pride but out of reverence for what He has entrusted to you. Nurture them in silence, pray over them in the holy depths of your heart, and let God show you if and when they are meant to be shared. When you do this, you will find your relationship with Him growing deeper, your faith becoming an unshakable mountain, and your life becoming a song of praise to His glory. Chosen ones, silence is your greatest weapon on this journey. When you protect your dreams, your family, your victories, your finances, and your sacred moments, you are not just preserving what God has given, you are opening the door for Him to multiply them beyond your wildest dreams. Do not fall into the trap of oversharing or seeking the world's applause. The only recognition you need comes from the one who called you by name before time began. And when His time comes, He will lift you up, and the world will stand in awe of what He has done in you. But until then, be humble, be silent, and stand firm in the faith that He is working on your behalf, silencing every enemy before His glory. If this word has touched your heart, leave an amen in the comments, like this post, and walk this journey with me. Let's walk together in His light, and may God bless you beyond what you can imagine.